Hello everyone, this is John from Dry Tavern Road, and I wanted to put forth my entry into David Atkinson's the not very official vinyl tag release of 2025/2026. I learned of this from Brian at Embryonic Robot and wanted to start off with my favorite album of 2025, which I learned of on an audio blog by Michael Lavorgna called Twittering Machines. And this is Gwennifer Raymond. Last night I heard the dog star bark. If you're familiar with John Fahey, American primitive guitar music, Gwennifer is from Wales, and so she does Welsh primitive guitar music. And it's very extraordinary, all instrumental, just her and her guitar, massive alternate tunings, heavy percussive elements, as well as an amazing drone effect. Got this on Bandcamp, and also had the good fortune to see her. I live right in the Philadelphia area. She played down in Elkton, Maryland, to about maybe 30 people at the very end of November. So this is actually an album I listened to the most in the last part of the year. And there you go, Gwennifer Raymond. The best tour experience of 2025, I would say, was Nine Inch Nails, the Peel It Back show at Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. I went with my son. It's the third time we've seen Trent Reznor and the band as it stands. And he put on an amazing show going across the entire auditorium, from solo piano to a trio setting in the middle to a full stage effect. He is still doing it, and highly recommend Nine Inch Nails if you get a chance to see them at all. Honorable mention, I'd always wanted to see Billy Strings. I'm a big bluegrass fan. He performed on Halloween night in Baltimore, Maryland, October 31st, and he did a show that kicked off with Edgar Winter's Frankenstein. He was dressed as the Wolfman. The entire band was dressed up, and they played Halloween-related songs the entire evening. It was amazing, though now I feel I need to go back and see him in a bluegrass setting. The vinyl collection in 10 years' time, is it bigger, smaller, or about the same? Explain why. I guess I'm in an age where downsizing is a good thing in certain ways. I have actually downsized my collection over the past couple of years. I participated in an auction a couple of years back. I made a video on it where I acquired roughly 1,100 records. So the collection was up to 1,500, and now I have trimmed it down to vinyl at about 450. I actually broke my record case, and now I've got the Kalex boxes in the closet hosting those 453. So I think I'd like to kind of have a new one in and an old one out kind of process moving forward, as less is more, and also the fact that I want to actually listen to all the records I own. You move into a new home, what record you turn up to 11 upon your arrival, and why? I think I want to make my neighbors happy. You know, what could be happier than Grateful Dead, American Beauty? It's an extraordinary album, kind of a great combination of music from folk to rock to a cappella. Love the album, and don't want to piss my neighbors off too much. You know, I'll play Physical Graffiti maybe after a month of living there. Looking at my favorite male and female artists, I always kind of team these artists together. My favorite male vocalist artist, Nick Drake. This is a release from Island that came out in the 80s. I just find myself coming back to Nick Drake over and over and over again. I read a very, very interesting biography on him kind of led a very tragic life. Kind of had a lot of doubt, a lot of apprehension. Apparently there's only one photo of him playing live, which I find incredible. But the music has grown and grown and grown, and he is absolutely one of the most unique artists of all time. Female side would be Eva Cassidy. This is live at Blues Alley. I became aware of her through her cover of Fields of Gold, Somewhere Over the Rainbow. This album really has a lot of other great covers as well. And not unlike Nick Drake, passed away at a very, very early age, succumbed to cancer. But fortunately, there are some great recordings out there, and this is one of my favorites because it's her live. 3 soul dance records. Fela Kuti, Zombie. I have become a huge Fela Kuti fan. This is something I really attribute to the vinyl community, hearing about him, and obviously testing the waters on streaming. And this is the vinyl I have, and I actually purchased a wonderful collection just called Fela on CDs. So it's pretty much a lot of what he recorded, and never fails to make me want to move and dance. More recent album is Devin Lamar, I Told You So. It's an organ trio. It's excellent, excellent soul / jazz / pop record, and has kind of an old school feel to it in terms of the typeface of the album, and definitely something that'll get you moving. And of course, I go back to time and time again, Sade, one of the best soul pop stars ever. One real stinker from an album you love. I love Rubber Soul. I don't like Run For Your Life. I'm pretty sure it's clear why. Better run for your life. Catch you with another man, that's the end. Rather see you dead, little girl. Come on, John, what were you thinking? Album from every decade, and I'll come back and thank John for his contributions to the White Album. 70s, Blood on the Tracks. The very beginning of 1980, Remain in Light, Talking Heads, produced by Brian Eno. 90s, I have to go with Radiohead. The aughts, 2006, 9 Inch Nails with Teeth. And the 2010s, this is a new kind of remaster of my absolute favorite album of that period, Beck's Morning Phase. Extraordinary album. If you could meet an artist, the beach, hanging out, who would it be, where would you be? I think I'd like to go to Berlin and spend time with David Bowie. I think he's someone who led many, many lives, had many successes in so many genres that I'm still discovering new music as I catch up to his later albums. And I would ask him, what's with the 12-string guitar? He always seemed to like to bring out the 12-string guitar at times, and I don't feel I ever saw him play another instrument. I would ask him a lot about how he created his music and the role of the 12-string guitar. Looked like a guild, to the best of my memory. A track that always brings tears to your eyes, or are you a heartless bastard? Well, I am a heartless bastard. I'm such a heartless bastard that I don't have an album by this artist. And this came from a TV show called Sessions on 52nd Street. It was in the late 90s. And one evening I saw Jane Siberry perform Love Is Everything. And she played with a backup vocalist, a cornet player, and a piano player. And they just made an extraordinary piece of music that always brings tears to my eyes. For some reason, it does not exist on YouTube. You have to really do some searching, find this album out. Kind of hand in hand with the later entry, Katie Lang did this album in 2004, The Cover Love Is Everything, as well as it's all Canadian artists. And she does a wonderful interpretation, but it's the Jane Sibrian version that really, really draws my attention. I was fortunate to see her perform live in a very small venue in probably 2014, and though it was not filled that night, she asked everyone to come down and she performed like she was in front of 20,000 people. It was extraordinary. Moving on, artists that I own, try to love, people have talked to me about them, and I guess number one would be Neil Young. I admire him. I'm a huge Bob Dylan fan. I should like Neil Young's work, and I obviously admire him, but I'm just not drawn to it for some reason. Kind of similarly, I don't own any Crosby, Stills, Nash at all. The other one is Supertramp. I bought this album because I like the cover, and it was a good deal. And I do enjoy the song, The Long Way Home. I think it's a terrific song, but there's just something about them that doesn't jive with me. An artist whose character disappoints you, and can you separate the art from the artist? That's always the fear, is we meet our idols and they disappoint us. That would be Van Morrison. I think he's an extraordinary artist, love his music, and unfortunately had a very, very regrettable concert experience where he was not into it that night at all, and actually left because of his indifference. I have heard the 40th anniversary of Astro Weeks performed at the Hollywood Bowl, and every time I listen to it, I say, I wish I had been at that show instead of the Beacon Theater in New York City in the mid-90s. If you had to sell all the vinyl along with your record player, what one album would you hold on as a keepsake? I've had this album since I was 8 years old, so it is already a keepsake. I've played it, stepped on it, used cellophane tape on it. We played on my first record player. Played on every record player. And I love the album, and I would definitely keep the Beatles, Yesterday and Today. I still have a hard time hearing these songs in their correct sequence on the UK pressings, because this is kind of drilled into my mind. Discuss the VC highlight of 2025. That's a video link to it. I would thank Brian of The Embryonic Robot, who did a fantastic series on John Cale, and he held up this very book, John Cale, What is Welsh for Zen. I bought the book, I followed his series, and I think he ended it in 2025. It began in 2024, and he kept doggedly pursuing it, and I really do appreciate Brian's work on bringing John Cale to light. Not J.J. Cale, but John Cale. Give 3 reasons why jazz matters. I would just like to point out Oscar Peterson, the Canadiana Suite. I heard him being interviewed on a PBS show in the 70s where he said there's only 2 kinds of music, good and bad. And this is an album he did of all his original compositions. I think it might be the only one he did with his composition, his own music. And this copy I actually got came with an autograph. So I'm sure we could see that. which is kind of a nice touch. It's kind of amazing what you can find on Discogs these days. I would then talk about Bill Evans. His music, his artistry is unbelievable, and I know he's the releases just keep coming and coming and coming. The Live at Riverside series is being remastered and put out. This is Bill Evans and Jim Hall, the guitarist, Undercurrent, with one of the most captivating covers of all time. And I believe this is one of the biggest selling albums of all time, so there are a lot of people that enjoy jazz. And of course I'm talking about Miles Davis. Kind of Blue. And this one I got is actually the 6i Columbia version. Not in great shape, but I wanted to have it simply because this is one of my favorite albums. And it sounds as current today as it did in 1957 when it was the future. So I think jazz is just maybe a nice relief from other forms of music, and why limit yourself? Enjoy it. Sell an artist to a new listener. Show one essential album and explain why you should make time for it. I'm going to dig back into this pile because it was my album of the 2010s. It would be back. It would be Morning Phase. This album is orchestral, it's rock, it's slightly folk. It's a beautiful production recording. I believe, it won the Grammy 2014, so it was definitely acknowledged. I think Beck has had an amazing career. I've had the good fortune to see him both in band setting. I saw him down in East Nashville play a solo show, and I think he's one of the greatest artists currently producing art. And this album is just a great testament to his genius. An innocent man or woman in death row, they give you one last musical request. What do you ask for? I'm going to go for Chet Baker Sings. Some of the titles on this, will bear me out, but not for me. Time after time, I can't get along very well. The thrill is gone. So I would ask for Chet Baker singing, not just playing the horn. You're arranging a meetup in 2026, excluding those you've already met. Which 3 people would you invite? I did get a chance to meet Dylan when I went down to Normal Records in just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. I would like to see go over to England to see Mike, the PC-31, the Vinyl Policeman. I think he'd be a good person to hang out with and go and find some records. Chris from the Long Cut, I'm a big fan of his honesty, his candor. I really truly enjoy his channel on many, many levels, not just the music. And then I'd have to go the person that inspired this, a gratuitous plug for David Atkinson from Music and More. Seems like he's from Newcastle upon Tyne, which is where my father comes from. I was recently in Edinburgh, which is only 95 miles from Newcastle, so I could have possibly met him at that point. But that would be great. He also had a quote talking about the move from streaming to vinyl, which I really, really enjoyed. Talking about streaming, I was doing more hearing than listening to music. And I think that's the beauty of vinyl, is the act of listening to music. And that's something I hope to do a lot more of in 2026. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.